It's time for another edition of the Outstanding Shift podcast with your host, Andrew Evans from Rossby Financial. I'm your producer, RJ Malyk. Andrew, hello there.
Hey, RJ.
How are you?
I'm well. And RJ, we're doing part 2 today.
Yes, I see your brother has joined us.
Yes, David.
Hello, David.
Hello.
Welcome back. This time you have a lovely microphone. I see you have a plant.
I'm trying to class up the joint. I'm trying to make it appear as if I'm recording from a very small botanical garden.
Yeah.
I like the microphone and the headphones. You look the part, David.
We all know that's like 90-some% of whatever.
Well, I wouldn't say 90, but it's up there, yes.
You're getting close.
Please do not look at me. Listeners, I love that you're listening to me. People who are viewing this on video, you got to find better. You got to find something better to watch.
So today, this is a part 2. So if you, for those listening at home or in their car or on their jog, so we talked about AI last time, and we got fairly into the weeds. We got very in depth, but then as we were wrapping up, we started chatting directly with RJ about his journey into AI, and that struck a chord with David about he wanted to know more about that, and so this is a few weeks after we recorded that, and in those few weeks too, there have actually been a few people, and I've been on a few other meetings and so forth where everybody's like, how do I get into AI? I want to get in. What do you need to do? What do you need? And everybody's doing that, and so this is, I guess the term would be how apropos that we do this. So really, this is really Andrew and David grilling RJ on getting into AI. Not grilling, but
I'm not an expert by any means. Yes, I'm just dipping my toe into the AI waters, I guess.
That's important, right? Like that's the thing about all this stuff is that everybody who was an expert is not an expert anymore, right? Like we all had to start over 2 years ago. So like that's good. Like that's good. That's a good place to be.
So is this are we at a stage with AI that in 5 years, maybe even less, that things are going to be completely different than where they are right now, and in a way we're just going to be constantly learning?
RJ, I think everything in the last 5 years already has been different.
Okay, fair.
Like I think like the questions here, this is my thing with the whole AI stuff, and the reason that I'm interested in your experience with this is that like the marketing machine is really taken over here, right? And it's like everything's going to be totally this is the BC CE boundary, which is like maybe true, but like we've thought that a million times in the last 15 years, right? So
yes, but things are constantly changing and progressing, and I guess we should look at it because I'm obviously older than both of you.
Well, not combined.
I can tell you that I grew up with a rotary phone.
Is that obvious? I don't think that's obvious.
It's obvious. I'm older than you, both of you, not combined. Yes, thank you, Andrew.
I mean, you don't know. If I shaved my head, I could probably get a run for your money.
No. If I let my hair grow in, then it would. I mean, there'd be a lot of gray. And
the thing I like the most about getting older is that when you get into your 40s, when you really settle into your 40s, you can sort of intellectualize. You can realize that your body's not yet aware or willing to admit that it's in its 40s. No matter how much you're like, I'm in my 40s, I can't do this. Your body's like, nah, you're fine. And then later it's like, oh, geez, why? What is it? What's happening? I don't know how this happened.
Yes. I played sports when I was younger. I was a lacrosse player in high school and college. And when I got into my 40s, my body rebelled against me because I used to be able to, run and do all sorts of things and every single day.
Yeah.
I got into my 40s, I would do something physical and then I would need 2 days to recover.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what is this? Why is my back killing me? Why are my knees aching like they are? So, yeah.
And then we made the computers smart. and now we're I'm trying to bring it back. I want to hear about where you start, how, like, you woke up one morning, I assume, and I assume you wake up most mornings, which is
Yes,
great.
yes.
That's good. And you said I have to find out what's going on here.
Yes, I pay attention to the news. I mean, that's my background, radio. That's what I was in for decades. You always stayed on top of all, whatever the current events are going on. You wanted to be on top of it because you would relate to whatever your audience. You had to know your audience, and you would try to figure out, okay, what are they interested in? So I would have to pay attention to the news or whatever going on, and bring that, talk about that on the air. So that's a habit that I still have, and AI has been for me in the forefront because I want to learn it so I can stay relevant. And I know AI is getting to a point where you can't tell the difference, or it's hard to tell a difference between an AI voice and a real human's voice. And for me, that's scary because that's my livelihood. So my thought process is, okay, I have to fight that. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to add more skills to what I do. I'm not going to become a construction worker. I'm not going to become an accountant. All those things are off the table for me at this point in my life. So how am I going to make myself marketable in my chosen career, which right now is voiceover work? Well, one thing I can do is, besides being a voiceover artist, I then can provide not only my voice, but I can custom make a music bed for whatever audio you want to do. Mm-hmm. And, I can then, because it's my music, I set the price, mm-hmm. And that's just an addition where, a person who just does their voice, then the client has to then go to another company and find music for themselves. So this is my thought process. And AI, and I have enough knowledge and skill as a musician that I'm dangerous. I'm just not very good.
I have a couple notes here I have that you like. Your interests include waking up, staying relevant, and now I'm going to add here, is dangerous.
It's dangerous.
So you stay up to date on everything. You sort of see this wave coming. Your skill set, your interests are sort of right in the crosshairs of what the industry is doing, and you're like, cats! I gotta understand. I gotta figure out how to ride this wave before it washes me out.
Sure. So I'm looking at AI, and instead of saying AI is the enemy, in a way it is, but in a way, how can I use AI to stay relevant and, stay busy and stay employed? Mm-hmm. So that's how I'm approaching it. And that's why I'm like, okay, then let's get another skill. Mm-hmm. You're never too old to learn, new things, and especially when it fits into what I do for a living.
Sure. So this is interesting because I think, like, framing up with what Andrew brought up earlier is the question of, like, and I get asked this question, I think, more than anything, is like, how do I start? Right? Like, you can sit me down at ChatGPT and I basically throw a Google search in it and it writes me back a big paragraph, and then I'm like, I don't care. I mean, like, whatever, right? Like, it seems very shallow, but then on the other hand, you've got, like, the media is screaming in your face, like, hey, this is going to bowl you over if you don't pay attention to it. And, like, there's this big disconnect, I think, for most people. So, like, and it sounds like you're trying to, like, grok this disconnect and come at it in a particular way. If you could talk a little bit about, like, that experience of, like, I remember you said you took a class, like that, this whole thing, I think, is like an interesting story of how to navigate that question.
Well, yeah, research. You have to do research. You have to read, and you have to figure out what you want to do. So for myself, I have a program called Logic Pro, which is an Apple product. and it has AI features to it. It's not 100% AI, but there is AI features to it. So I'm learning this program. I'm interested in it, and I know how it can dovetail into what I'm doing for my career right now. So that was the first thing. And then again, as I continued on doing research, I'm looking at just other courses I could take that will fit into what I'm doing. I'm not going to change my career totally, but at the same time, I want to find things that will complement what I'm doing.
That's actually really a key insight. And like, I think my question to you that I think would be probably pretty interesting to most people is like, do you know how an LLM works?
No.
This is great. Like, do you know how like an audio diffusion model works?
Nope. Can you start speaking English? No, I'm kidding.
But you know how to use them, right? Like, or like roughly understand how to use one.
Sure.
That's great. This is so this I think is like a key, like a key takeaway there is, at least in my, and you can disagree with me. I don't know really what I'm talking about. I don't want to tell you what your experience was, but like, I'm a white guy on a podcast. I'll tell you what the world is like.
That's why we do these, David.
So you came at it with sort of like with a goal in mind, which was like, I want to cross this chasm.
Right.
Like of being afraid of the coming storm, and like, and then to sort of put it in a place where you can start to see it as like a tool, whether or not you know what to do with the tools yet, right?
Yes. Well, I think what's helpful for me when I got into radio, we were still using reel-to-reel tapes. Okay. So then all of a sudden, all these radio stations started getting computers. So I was probably about 30 at the time. So in order for me to stay employed, I had to learn these computers and learn how to use these different programs that helped me with my career and with just conducting business. So I think I have an advantage that way, in the sense that I look at AI the same way I look at how computers went from, for lack of a better word, novelty to being absolutely necessary for business. You couldn't live without a computer. So I lived through that. So I think for me, that's an advantage, that it's easier for me to make a transition like that because I've already made a transition once. So how difficult can this transition be? Yes, it's going to take a lot of work. I understand that. But part of transitioning is a mindset of not looking back and saying, oh, I wish it was like this. And a lot of people fall into that trap of, oh, it used to be better 10 years ago. Fortunately, I don't let myself fall into that trap. I'm looking for new and better ways to improve myself.
That is inspiring. And not to do something terrible with an inspiring quote, but I'm going to say like, now back, like to circle to Andrew's sort of like financial world, right? There is a little bit of a common thread here where I think that and check me on this, the both of you, like it is very convenient to position AI in the same way that we kind of position in Andrew's case competing financial markets. So like the Asia market's going to overtake the U.S. market any moment now, right? And then in your case, it's like actually your job is going to be gone. Mm-hmm. In Andrew's case, it's like there are these quants coming out of Princeton that can like predict 4 years out into the future. There's no reason to even think that you can like operate in the financial space anymore. And I wonder, and so this is now so. And engineering didn't have this before, and now we have it, right? Which is like you're basically useless, right? Like the computer can do the computer now, forget it. And so I find the same thing where it's like being told you're about to be replaced by a machine, right? And a bunch of people freaking out about it and getting sort of frozen, and they don't know what to do about it. And I think a lot, and I would love to hear some opinions on this. There is an old parable, legend of John Henry.
Sure.
The last steel driving man, right? Like the last guy. And so to me, this is already in the culture, right? This is like baked in, top to bottom.
Right.
But it seems like we, at every opportunity, every time a new tool shows up, whether it's the computer in the reel-to-reel, like whether it's AI in this case, we go like, oh, it's here. It's done. Everything, everybody's done. Right. This is going to be applied equivalently to all industries in every way. And now no one's going to work anymore. And a whole species of human beings who basically sit around all the time that they're not working and talk about how they don't want to work are suddenly like, we got to stop this thing. And so I'm interested in like these perspectives from like finance and from, like basically audio, which is this like, it's been dead 10 times, right? Like podcasts have died 5 times in the last 10 years, right? And we're on one. So I would love to hear like the two of you kind of like walk through that kind of perspective of like, you're getting this warning, it's coming for you, your industry is going away. And you've been told this several times and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, one I could give you directly that I think a lot of people in the financial world can look at and say, well, that's probably the obvious one. Ask any CPA firm, go back a couple years and say, well, the creation of TurboTax, that was going to shut down the need for anybody to go to an accountant to have anybody have their taxes done.
It's over. Pack it up.
Yeah, that was it. Okay, that was going to be, okay, we don't need to do that anymore. Okay, that was the end of it. Hey, how'd that work out?
Yeah, I mean, just from my personal experience, when I was younger, yes, and when TurboTax came out, yes, I went to it. But as I got older and, got married and we're buying a house and things like that, TurboTax can't help me. I need someone who really can focus on our needs, my wife and my needs, as far as what we're doing, what our future is going to be like. TurboTax has a niche, as far as my opinion. It's a niche for people who are just out of college and just starting. But as you get older and start accumulating wealth and material and things like that, you need someone who can just research and find out all the information you need for your particular situation.
Every industry has some version of that. On one of our first episodes, we actually talk about the dawn of the big box store. My lovely wife and I talk about the idea of, do you want to be a Walmart, a Home Depot, or an Ace Hardware? And, a Home Depot should have put, all Ace Hardwares out of business, but it didn't.
Right.
Because you know what? Home Depot has its niche. They buy in bulk, and some people really like that level of DIY and so forth. But then, a local, small hardware store, people do like going in, more of a bespoke amount of items. You can directly talk to someone that has a more, intimate knowledge of something. You can, have a relationship with them and get a better understanding of what you need done there in your home and so forth. Also, those big box stores, that DIY attitude, shouldn't that have put out of work the plumbers or the carpenters and so forth? Well, that didn't happen either. So no matter what new technology or program or what have you comes along, it just doesn't stop.
I think the people who get, the world is coming to an end, instead of looking at the problem and saying, okay, this is going to take away from me on, in this aspect, but here's an opportunity for me to make myself even better. And let me take that path. I guess that's the best analogy. You have to look at the path and which path can I take?
I would say, you growing up on Long Island.
Yes.
Okay, did I say that right?
You said it perfectly. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. You could have dropped an F-bomb. That would have really made me feel at home.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. We grew up in Pittsburgh, right at we could say like right there at the tail end of the mill decline.
Sure.
And we got to feel firsthand of I'd say the people who just don't. I mean, still like just couldn't move on. Like that industry it's just dead. They couldn't move on from it. And
Right.
as opposed to seeing a way forward, they just kind of shrug their shoulders like, well, everything's over. And I always, and as this is just my, now it can go out to the world. Anytime you watch football on a national level and you're watching the Steelers play somebody away, like, okay, you're going to watch the Steelers play the Chargers they're now in LA. You're going to watch them play in LA, and you see all these Steelers fans, and the announcers say, "Oh, those Steelers fans travel well." They
Right.
don't. No, nobody in Pittsburgh is going to San Diego. But so why are they there? It's not because everybody fell in love with the Steelers in the 70s. No, it's because a lot of people who were living in Pittsburgh left because there were no jobs. They picked up and they left. The ones who said, it's not going well here, we have to figure something else out, we're going. They left and they set up new lives, new opportunities. They said, you know what? This whole industrial world isn't happening. I hear there's something to do with technology out in this thing called California, something called Silicon something or other. I'm going to go. And they basically started a new franchise of a family, and that grew a fan base that way. That's why because they left.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I think that's an example of people where, okay, that your way of doing something is declining. You can't just stand around and say, well, I'm just going to sit here and let it evaporate and just be frumpy. Well, I like it the way that it was. I'm not going to learn something new.
I experienced that firsthand with my father. So my father was a manufacturer's rep. His job was to represent manufacturers who aren't big enough or factories that aren't big enough to have their own sales department. And it was in the hardware industry. And when Home Depot and Lowe's came along, they put my father out of business because there was no longer a need for them, because the small individual hardware stores were being also put out of business. So he instead of trying to learn something new, because his mindset was, well, I'm in my early 60s. My dad died when he was 65. My uncle died when he was 66. I don't have that much longer to live, so I'm just going to retire. And he ended up living till he was 87. Now, he was in good shape to retire at that time anyway. So it wasn't like, he turned 75 and he had no money left. That was not the case at all. But it still was a mindset that, he had that was different from mine. My mindset is I'm going to work as long as my voice holds out, as long as my mind holds out. I don't want to retire per se. I find that boring.
I don't know where this question is going to go, but I'm really, really interested in your case. So like I said, engineering, everybody says the computer can write the code, everybody freaks out, and I have to talk to people and I have to say, like, actually your accreted understanding of like how these systems work together, how it's not an easy solution, and your process that you understand, your approach is what actually matters more now rather than the actual code. RJ, we're talking a lot about like industries where like, the industry just kind of disappears and whatever. And you're talking now, you opened the door for this one, prosecutor.
Yeah.
You're in a unique position where, like, because you have recorded audiobooks, because your business is your voice, that you can be cloned.
Yes.
And you can stay infinitely, you could basically today freeze your ability to perform in such a way that, like, for eternity, you could essentially be like adequately recreated.
Right.
What is that like? I mean, knowing as that like there is an expiration date on, like, this kind of skill set, and now that expiration date is gone. Is that weird?
Well, to be honest, David, I've never thought of it that way. And yes, it seems kind of weird. I think my siblings and relatives would be like, "Oh my God, can his voice go away? We don't want to hear him anymore." No, seriously, it's kind of cool in a way to know that your voice can live on. And the great thing is everyone's voice is unique. And that's the thing where we're going through with AI. They have to protect themselves. And there's no real laws out there that protects us. There are groups that are fighting to protect us. And it's interesting as it's progressing. Like I see, I'm part of a website that employs people like myself. I'm an independent contractor with them. And basically, if I get hired, I get paid. If I don't get hired, I don't get paid.
Sure.
But they make it quite clear, I send them my demo tape, and they make it clear, no AI. If we catch you doing AI, you're done, which is very nice. I like to hear that. But then I see ads in LinkedIn, these companies asking people to record things so it can train AI.
Yeah.
And my immediate thought, and this could be wrong, but my immediate thought is, why would you do that and put yourself out of business? You can make a quick couple of $100 reading a couple things, but then you're gone. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never apply for any job like that. If I see the two letters AI, I'm done. I don't want my voice recorded. I want it to stay with me. And I'm hoping that there will be some laws that will be written in the future that will protect us that way.
Do you see a future where part of your offering is sort of like $1 bajillion movie trailer voiceover, all the way down to like you send me a script and I crank it through my own voice generation model while I'm asleep, and that's sort of an offering tier, and you don't have to have like a solid answer to this. I just I am myself trying to understand like where this goes, right?
Well, at this point, I don't think AI has quite mastered the emotions.
Today, I think you're right. AIs can't do the nuance, right?
Right.
And so I think what I'm getting from what you're saying is like there is a time now where that is an advantage, right? That is like a distinct and clear advantage that the human being has.
As I said, referred to before, I have an acting coach. So this way I, can do more than just a straight read.
Mm-hmm.
I can, audiobooks, it's great because you get characters. So I have to figure out how to do the different characters. AI can't really master that right now.
Right.
Doesn't mean in 5 years, 10 years, 2 years that it does master that. But at the same time, I have to continue to make myself relevant and make myself attractive for potential employers.
Mm-hmm. There is the 80-20 rule does actually apply to this stuff, right? There is also a world in which 80% of voiceover stuff is worth it for researchers to try to like crack, right? Like generating YouTube videos for people to watch just to get ad revenue, this kind of thing. And the 20%, this like really good really good replication of very detailed voice, like might be in the 20%, where like the effort necessary to do it is just not as valuable to cross, and it will take super long time to get there.
Sure.
And like I don't think that's a bet that I would make necessarily, but like it's true that like this is the gap. This is a very hard to close gap. Because like right now there's a human behind it that can reason in real time about what it's reading.
To the 80-20 rule, because we're rolling over time, so hopefully everybody loves this one. All right, so that 80-20 rule, Mr. Evans, that's the same everywhere, I think. So if we think about legal work, all right, 80% of the work is done by the paralegal and the associate, maybe even 95% of the work. And then the partner then looks at it and says, Yeah, that's fine. Stamp, right? And it's done. The pilot, okay, pilot, co-pilot. All right, roll, take off, autopilot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time to land. All right. 80% of that flight was done by the autopilot. Okay. Financial services. All right. All the massive calculations that we do. All right. A lot of the relationship, 20% of that of what we do. And if any advisor wants to step to me, yeah, it's totally fine. They get it. Is that over the lifespan of your relationship with a client, 80% of that is going to be mostly done by the calculations and the work of custodians giving you data. 20% of it is you then looking at it, updating it, and then talking to your client and then recommunicating it back. But all the heavy data and all of that is being done someplace else. So everything is really 80-20. And I think as you add AI into any of that, actually, I don't think you're ever going to get to 100% of anything. I think it's always going to be an Occam's razor. I think you're just, you're always going to get half. No matter what, you're always going to be half.
Humans are really, really good at inventing work for ourselves, I think. I think that if there is one common thread through humans as a species is like, when we get to the point where we're like, well, we got it figured out, we're like, what if we came up with some way to make it a little harder?
Yeah.
Which is great, right? Like it's what's driven us this far, but it's also true that it's like freaking out that like everything's going to go away is really ignoring all of human history that says like, actually, we're gonna move the goalposts. Like once the AI, once the tools get there, we're gonna nudge the goalposts.
Yeah, we've eliminated poverty. Now we want to breathe underwater.
But Andrew, you brought up the 80-20. The thing that the thought I had while you were talking was that 20% actually to me is more important than the 80% per se, because I'm going to have interaction with you, a personal interaction. And I think that's always going to be something that is going to keep industries, businesses, whatever, going, because that you can't substitute that human interaction. And I can't tell you how many times I called someplace to get some help, and I would say 99 times out of 100, I end up frustrated, pounding on my phone for the button to get a human being to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that's something that will always continue. And the people who understand human interaction are always going to excel, because they'll understand that how important it is to be able to speak to someone and what to say to them. You can't beat being able to say the right thing at the right moment. That makes, I think, a huge difference.
You should end here and make that the title.
Well, the timing is perfect, David.
Stop the tape. End podcast. Great. We're done.
Excellent. Then let's go to our normal ending. How about some contact information? David, we'll go with you first.
I don't know. Just listen to this episode on repeat.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll put a link in the show notes. I don't know. Like you can follow me around. We'll give you my cell phone number.
Do you do the X?
I don't do anything anymore. I moved to a rural area specifically so that I could basically interact with nobody most of the time.
Okay.
If you want to get in touch with David, get in touch with me. How's that, RJ?
I think that is the correct way to do this is like please talk to my brother.
Okay.
That is going to be so much more worth your time. I'm going to spin out into a conversation about like the philosophy of technology.
Sounds good. All right, Andrew, how about your contact information?
Okay. How about you just call me or drop me a text at 321-209-0157. How about that, RJ?
Sounds good. David, Andrew, this has been a unique and entertaining experience talking to both of you. I thank you for inviting me to join you on your podcast.
RJ, incredible podcast guest.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to Outstanding Shift Podcast. If you've not subscribed to the podcast, please click the subscribe button below. This way, when the team comes out with a new podcast, it will show up directly on your listening device. And we humbly ask you to share this podcast, rate it, and leave a review, because this actually helps others find the show. Again, thank you for listening. And for Andrew and David, I'm RJ Malyk, and we look forward to you joining us for our next podcast.